How can you tell if she has settled for you? This is exactly what I'm going to teach you throughout this video. One thing I see a lot with men today is they find themselves stuck in the dating phase that leads nowhere. There are some guys that will get to know a woman, they never even go on a date, and she simply disappears, and they don't understand why. It gets worse when you see men who get into a relationship that never leads to marriage. They waste years of their life with the wrong partner. And finally, the worst of all is when you see a guy get into a relationship with a woman who settled for him, they get married, and he only finds out after he's made the commitment and has had children with her. Well, what if I told you that there are certain signs and indicators that you can pay attention to early on so that you can prevent from ever finding yourself in a situation like this? The key is this: do not be blinded by your lust. Most men focus on their own interest level, so much so to the point that they bypass obvious indicators that the woman they have just met or are currently with is not into them and in fact has settled for them. Now, the first sign that she has settled for you is that she's not over her ex. Now, this is something that you are going to find out sooner or later, because there are going to be obvious signs that this is true. Now, first of all, I want to explain why this means she settled for you, because there are a lot of young guys watching who are inexperienced, who are very, very lustful, and they're excited to meet a woman, okay? They're lonely, they don't have a good foundation, they want to get with a woman simply because, it's exciting, it's new, they've never experienced that. And in comes a woman who has recently left her boyfriend, and they think, oh, that's okay, I'll be different than the ex. I'm going to fix her, I'm going to save her, I'm going to show her why I'm better than him. But what they fail to understand is they're focusing on their own interest level and they're not looking at the situation objectively. This is in fact quite dangerous. When you meet a woman and she has recently left her ex, or it's not been long since she came out of a long-term relationship, especially if it was very abusive and toxic, and she's looking to date immediately or soon after, and she meets you and begins dating you, this is actually an indicator that she's settling. In essence, she's using you in this case as a coping mechanism. Because a normal woman with a healthy self-esteem who goes through a breakup is going to want to be alone. Whether the breakup was mutual or unilateral, she needs time to heal, rebuild her identity, spend time with her family and friends, pick up a Bible, fill in her knowledge gap, whatever happens to be, but she needs to sort out her life. The last thing on her mind is jumping into a new relationship or meeting someone new and building a new connection with another man. She needs time alone to heal. So what reason would a woman have who's in a very emotionally vulnerable state immediately after a breakup to go and date a man like you? Well, the only type of woman that's going to do this is a girl that has either very low self-esteem, she's immature, right? Or she herself too is lustful. And instead of giving herself that time to heal, she's impatient. And because she has low self-esteem, she's immature, she's lustful, she's going to try and go out and date again, thinking this is going to help her bypass or speed up the healing process. So in essence, she's using you as an emotional coping mechanism. And what happens because women go through this too, they meet a guy and he rebounds to be with her. So what I want you guys to understand is this: when you meet a girl under these circumstances, the reason why she's settling for you is because when somebody is very vulnerable after a breakup and they immediately meet someone new, they are usually not thinking about finding someone to spend their life with, so they're not serious about it. So what's going to happen? Well, they have to substitute the idea of finding someone to spend their life with for lowering their standard, because it's basically temporary pleasure. It's coping mechanism. It's really not that important. Meaning she'll go for any guy that comes into her life. He's not that attractive, I'll give him a chance. We don't really have the same values, it's whatever, I'll give him a shot. I'm just happy to forget about my ex. That's really what's happening in this situation when she rebounds to you. Okay? And there are obvious signs that come with this that most men overlook. If you notice that the ex is still present in her life, she still has his phone number, she still has him on social media, he still tries to contact her, and instead of blocking him or deleting him, she keeps the line of communication open. She talks about her ex often in a positive way as well. It's not like you meet a girl, you talk, tell me about your ex, and you have that conversation. No, she always brings him up. She kind of compares him to you. What's worse is she may tell you that she still misses him, that she's not over him. She tells you that I recently came out of a relationship. You may notice you shouldn't do that, but if you do come across it in her phone, you may find that there's still pictures of them together. She still has pictures up on social media. She still keeps him in her life. She still thinks about him, right? You're going to notice that she's not really truly emotionally present with you. She's kind of disconnected. She's afraid to be intimate. But so that is kind of what is going to happen when you're with a girl like this. You're going to feel something's not right because she's settled for you. Think about it. She just came out of a relationship. She's heartbroken. She's grieving. She's angry, upset. And instead of healing, she's thinking, fine, I'll take whatever guy comes my way. She's not thinking straight. So she's going to stay with a guy like you, a guy who's also emotionally vulnerable, you're immature, or you're lustful, and you think you're going to make it work. And unfortunately, in most of these cases, it fizzles out. Eventually, as time goes on and she kind of heals from her ex, she's going to realize, this guy wasn't right for me, and she's going to walk away. Or unless you have the balls and do it first. So do not turn a blind eye to this one, men. This is the first sign for an obvious reason. If you know she's recently come out of a relationship, she's not ready for it. Even if she tells you she really likes you, it's coming out of a place from cope. It's not coming out of a place of genuine desire. Because a woman that really wants to have a lifelong commitment is going to start things with a solid foundation to begin with. She's not going to bypass the fact that she's not that into you. She's not going to bypass the fact that you're incompatible. She wants a man she's compatible with. She wants a man she finds handsome, who's serious, who wants what she wants out of life, marriage, family, children. So she's not just going to date just because she's come out of a long-term relationship. She needs to heal. She herself right then and there is not prepared to give you her heart entirely when a piece of it is still held onto by her ex. That's what I need you to understand. Do not delude yourself. If you've been getting to know a girl and you know her ex is still in the picture, he's still in the background, she recently dumped in, she's kind of hot and cold, it's not really going anywhere, and you try and stay with her years and years, if she stays with you, she's going to settle. And then she's going to kind of feel guilty about it, and it's going to fail. Walk away. The second sign that she's settled for you is that there is no physical attraction on her end. I cannot stress this enough. I have a video on this about why looks matter to women. I'll link that down below in the description. You can check it out. A lot of men like to convince themselves that somehow physical attraction is different for women. And it's just not true. The moment a girl looks at you, whether you meet on social media, whether you meet in real life, she sees a picture of you, whatever happens to be, she knows within 3 seconds whether she finds you attractive or not. The same way when you see her, you know whether you find her beautiful or not. Attraction is not a choice. You either like her or you don't, and it's the same for her. And if there is no physical desire, you're never truly going to have your foot in the door, meaning you can't really showcase your personality or character. It's going to mean nothing if she's not physically attracted to you. The only type of girl who's not going to care if you're attractive is a girl who has very, very low standards, low self-esteem. And if you don't believe me, you can try going for a girl that doesn't find you physically attractive and you'll tell me how that one plays out. Or as a man, I tried it too when I was younger. Or that girl, I'm not that into her, but I'll kind of talk to her, and it goes nowhere because you don't have enough desire to want to get to know her. I mean, we are meant to find our future spouse, our future wife, very attractive. For the ladies, you're meant to find your future husband very handsome. I mean, God gave us the desire of beauty to use it righteously. It's meant to be for the person you spend your life with, not for random strangers. There's a reason why you're repelled by people you don't find attractive, because they're not right for you. It doesn't mean that they're not right for anyone. There's someone out there for everyone, right? God is a matchmaker. Amen. So if you notice that a girl is not physically attracted to you, you got a problem. So if you notice that she doesn't consistently tell you and show you through her actions that she finds you handsome, she never compliments your looks. I'm not talking about what clothes you're wearing. She genuinely looks at you and says, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, your eyes, your smile, your face. Oh, you're such a handsome man. I'm a lucky girl. If you're not hearing that consistently, she's not into you. She has no desire to hold your hand, to kiss you, to wrap herself around you, right? She doesn't want to be physically close to you. The desire simply isn't there. Then it's obvious, man. So this is usually the case when she has low self-esteem and she hasn't prepared for marriage. So she's kind of dating just for fun, for pleasure. She doesn't really know what she wants. Unfortunately, women that are young, women that are godless, they just haven't been educated on biblical foundation. They date off of emotion. And a girl that doesn't value herself thinks she's not worthy of a guy that's handsome or a guy that's, honorable or righteous. She'll just take whatever comes her way. Okay? So this can happen in other scenarios too. I've seen many case studies over the years. Guys will start out as friends with a girl and then they're surprised that she's not really into him later on. Think about it. You meet a girl and you think she's a 10. Would you really want to sit there for 6 months or 3-4 years to be her friend and in the hope that she'll give you a chance? Of course not. You're going to want her right away. And if she rejects you, you walk. Okay? So guys always will make an excuse for a girl that's not that into them. But think about it. If you looked like Brad Pitt or Chris Hemsworth and she thought you were very handsome and you ask her on a date, is she going to say no? Of course not. She's not going to sit there for 6 months or 6 years and be your friend and then maybe give you a chance later. That's what happens when you settle. You're basically sitting there on the, everybody's playing on the football pitch. You're sitting on the bench and the coach, he never gives you a chance to play because you're just a crap player. You're just not good for the team. And only as a substitute, maybe because they feel sorry for you, they'll give you a chance. And because you're such a bad player, you mess up anyway. And you lose the match for your team, You just don't do a good job. And it's kind of the same thing with attraction. If it's not there from the beginning and you try and force it later on, it's never going to feel the same. Okay? You want a woman where you look at her and think she's stunning. She looks at you and feels the same way. And if you've never felt that, you will simply not understand what I'm talking about. You have low standards yourself, which is why, like attracts like, you stay in a situation like this. So if you notice that the girl, you start out as friends, maybe you dated after being friends for 8 months or 1 year, and you were very into her and she kind of wasn't. Maybe she had different boyfriends she broke up with and then she thought, he's the beta cuck in the friend group, because men and women shouldn't be friends anyway. So both of your foundation is wrong, but she gives you a chance anyway. You're going to find out that it just doesn't work in the long run. Okay? If you date a girl like this, you'll notice that it's going to be very difficult to get her on dates. She rarely texts you back. It may take her whereas a normal woman's going to fall in love with you in 2 months, 3 months, more or less. A girl like this, you'll be getting to know her and it'll take her 6 months or 8 months to even muster the word "I love you," and she never even says it with passion anyway, right? You can tell she's not into you. The physical touch isn't there. The sparkle in her eye isn't there. She seems embarrassed to walk around holding your hand. She never wants to show you off to her friends or her family. She's not really proud of you. That happens when a girl's not into you. That's just reality, guys. Attraction is simply there or it isn't. And if she's not into you, you're just going to only hurt yourself in the long run because your needs are not going to be met. You're going to be frustrated. And unfortunately, I see a lot of men with low self-esteem. When this happens, they think they've got to keep trying because they're so focused on their own darned interest level that they think it's up to them. I can make her like me more if I just show her. What do you mean show her? When you meet a pretty girl and she's a 10 out of 10, did she have to do any tricks to show you why you should give her a chance? No, you think she's attractive. If you're a wise man, once you talk with her, yes, you're going to start vetting her character to see if you're compatible. But the attraction's there physically. On that part, you're sold. Okay? So it's the same way for you. If she looks at you and think you're a 5, who's she going to pick, the 5 or the 10 if she's got high standards? The 10. Preferably, if she chooses a 10 who she's compatible with, she's a happy woman. If you're a 5 and she's compatible with you, she still ain't going to be happy because the physical desire isn't there and there is no way to replace that. A lot of men and women settle in marriage and it breaks my heart when I find that out. When I get case studies of guys, I had one guy a long time ago. He was with his girlfriend for 7 years and he proposed on different occasions and she always turned him down. And it's like, wakey, and they started out as friends. She wasn't really that into him. She wanted to spend more time with her friends. That was a priority to her than being with him. When a girl's into you, she bonds with you. She's glued to you. You can't get her off your back. She wants you 24/7. And even you spending a few hours away at work, she misses you dearly because she wants you. You're never going to experience that with a girl that doesn't find you attractive. And that guy started out as friends with his ex. He proposed on different occasions and she said, I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I don't want it. And then she ended up leaving for someone else in the end. Because with girls like that, unfortunately, they have low self-esteem and they stay in that relationship simply because it's better than being alone. And later when they finally have the courage to leave, they've wasted years of your life and their life. And unfortunately, you both suffer. But you were blinded by your own lust, thinking that you could change her. That's pathetic. You should slap yourself in the face for that. Do not let this happen to yourself again, And even for the ladies listening, if you have a man and he's like that, you've been with him for 5 years, 7 years, and he's not proposing, he ain't going to propose unless he's going to settle for you. And you're going to be a very miserable wife. Walk away, find a man who wants you. It only takes, really, realistically, if you're both compatible and physically attracted to each other, realistically, 1.5 to 2 years, if you really vet each other's character properly, you're on the same page with everything, you got a green light. Spend your lives together. All of our ancestors used to do it and they lived very happy, right? But people don't do this anymore. Guys think that they're convinced that you have to do something to get the girl to be into you physically. Wrong. She wants you or she doesn't. Okay? That's life. So if you notice that you're just not a priority to her, but you do everything right in the relationship, she never really initiates intimacy. Okay? You're together with a girl for many, many years. There's no physical desire from her, and she never really brings up marriage, family. Where is this going? I want you. And not from a selfish place, not from a woman that doesn't understand marriage or family. I'm talking a really virtuous Proverbs 31 woman. She looks at you and she says, I can't wait to serve you and have children with you and build a family with you. I'm prepared for it. I want you. I choose you. If you're not hearing it with that desire, with that real love, why are you with her? She's not into you. Walk away. Because you have to question, if a woman like that's still with you, what is her reason? If it's not leading to marriage, where is it going? It's going right off a cliff and you're going to crash. That's what's going to happen. Okay? So when you notice that you start out as friends, you have to kind of twist her arm to date you. There's no desire. There's no progress in the relationship. You're not growing closer and closer together. You have to cut ties or you're going to waste more and more years of your life. That's up to you. The third sign that she's settled for you is that you are not compatible. Compatibility is the alignment of values, belief system, outlook on life, politics, religion, the amount of children you want to have, where you want to live, how you manage finances, how you live your life day in, day out. That's compatibility. That's necessary for the emotional health of a relationship. Because when you have a couple that are both physically attracted to each other, you think she's very sexy, she thinks you're very handsome, great. That's one piece of the puzzle. But if you are both mutually compatible, you agree on everything. You have the same views on politics. You're both Christian, for example, in terms of religion. You want the same amount of children. You have the same lifestyle. You exercise the same way. Whatever happens to be, just everything is aligned. Well, you like the same things, it's easier to get along together. You can try out new things from the same belief system because you have the same one. So you're more likely to try out fun activities together. Just sitting there and talking about things, you can do that for hours on end because you have the same values. This minimizes arguments, it maximizes intimacy, and it builds the relationship righteously. When you have that, you have love. Okay? Mutual desire, mutual compatibility, that's how you build a relationship, guys. But when this piece is missing, and again, you're blinded by your lust, you know you're not compatible with her. But when you really turn a blind eye, and let's say she's physically attracted to you, and she was single when she met you, there was no ex in the background, what's the missing piece? She likes you. There's nothing from her past that's stuck in the way. So she must have made the right decision, right? Wrong. If she's not compatible with you, she's settled for you. If you do not share the same values, but you stay with each other out of pure lust, then this is exactly what you have done. And you're going to know this. Because when you look at couples that are in this situation, there's going to be strong physical desire for each other, but without the compatibility, there's going to be arguments, there's going to be repetitive fights. You're going to have a very superficial relationship where pretty much everything you do is going to be sex, intimacy, getting very close to each other, which keeps you together because you think that's all you need. But yet, when you're not having sex, when you're not holding hands, when you're not kissing each other, you're fighting, you're arguing, you're at each other's throats. You're having horrible texting matches, shouting matches. You go a day or two where you don't talk to each other unless you want to be intimate. Okay? That's what happens when you're in this situation. And this situation usually fizzles out early on because there's too much fighting, the incompatibility is too strong, or it leads to an abusive relationship in the long run. When what happens here is sometimes the couple actually breaks up multiple times and they still get back together because the physical desire is so strong and they don't want to let go. They've made an investment, right? But men or women that have low self-esteem from a bad childhood, from past experience, past wounds, usually stay in situations like this because they're used to settling in other areas of their life. So if you're watching this as a man and you meet a girl and you notice that she's not compatible with you, meaning the reality is you're both not compatible, but you have strong physical desire, you know you're leading with your lust. Because what is lust? Lust is wrongfully directed sexual desire. You're using your desire for physical sex in the wrong way. You're not using that to grow closer to each other. It's just simply for pleasure, for fun. But it's really not leading anywhere because it's not enough. Are you compatible? Of course not. So you have to ask yourself, why is a woman like that staying with you? She's just as lustful as you are. More than likely, you're both a walking red flag. In this case, the settling is mutual. You both know you really shouldn't be with each other, but you kind of stay because it's better than being alone. The passion feels so good. And I've had a lot of case studies of men and women that have done this to themselves. And these tend to be very painful breakups to recover from because the passion's so hot and heavy. But these relationships, they start very passionate and they end very passionately too. You go out with a bang. So this is very dangerous and very emotionally exhausting. If you've ever been in an experience like this, happened to me a long time ago. And I regret that very much when I was younger and immature. It's just not worth it, man. If you are not compatible with each other, you know from the beginning because you have those conversations, right? You start to notice that, she's out with her girlfriends drinking and you don't. And you fight over those things. You want to change her, she wants to change you. That's not the way it should be. Because when you are compatible entirely, all of your values align, you keep pouring love into each other's cup. You can actually grow together because you bond over the same things you want. It reinforces your belief system. Your values become stronger. You defend each other. You're on the same team because you like the same things. But when you don't have that, you're not compatible. What do you have? You have nothing. Sure, you're physically attracted to each other, but it's not enough. I'm repeating that so it sticks in your head. So guys, if you notice that she's not compatible with you, doesn't mean she's settled for you physically. She finds you very handsome. But this is a woman that's most likely immature, very lustful, and obviously because she's got low self-esteem, doesn't really know what she wants. She's not prepared to be a wife or a mum. She's not serious about what she wants out of her life. At the very least, she's trying to convince herself that she can make you the right man. You're going to convince her that you can change her and make her the right woman too, which is why you're both stuck with each other. It's really a lesson for you and for her. But you can both walk away, grow from this, and make a better choice moving forward in your own lives independently, because you're not right for each other. Okay? The tighter you hold on to that rope, the more it's going to burn your hand. Okay? And it's going to cut off the blood supply on your grip, which is not very healthy. Okay? So let go, remove the tension, and you can begin healing. It's very important to choose a partner that you're going to spend your life with, to make sure that you don't settle for each other, that you both mutually want each other. Not about needing from a place of neediness. You should need each other from a place of necessity, but it's wanting each other from a place of mutual understanding, mutual respect, mutual desire, and mutual compatibility. Okay? That's what I have to say for this. Okay? So to wrap it all up, remember it's 3 signs. You are basically in a rebound relationship. She's not over her ex. Okay? Number 2, she doesn't have physical desire for you. Or number 3, she does find you attractive, but you're just not compatible. And usually with this one, it's mutual. You're mutually incompatible. But the lust is very, very strong because it's all rooted in you being blinded in lust. Remember, it starts with you and it ends with you. Why do you find yourself stuck in these scenarios when a girl settles for you? Because you're lustful. If you weren't lustful and you were serious about your life, you'd look past the physical beauty and say, let me look at her interest level. Why is she with me? You'd give her a background check. It is that simple. So with that said, hope you all have a wonderful day. God bless all of you and your families. And I'll see you all in the next one.